Welcome to Holistic Kids Show. My name is Zane.
And my name's Abdullah.
We are the Holistic Kids here to educate and empower us kids from the inside out.
Food is power.
Food is information.
Food influences the friends in our body.
Food influences our genes.
Food gives us the ability to take back control of our health.
Food takes care of the earth.
Food activates our potential for healing or creating imbalances that cause disease.
Did you know that food can also save our future?
Well, it is time to gather the whole family for the most powerful interview we have done so far. It is our absolute honor to interview Dr. Terry Wahls.
My mom can't stop talking about her, as Dr. Wahls is literally changing the world for the better. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Wahls.
Oh, thank you, you guys. I am just thrilled to be here with you.
Dr. Wahls is a clinical professor of medicine and a doctor and a patient with a disease that was destroying her body called multiple sclerosis. In 2003, her disease caused her back muscles to weaken, and she started to have to use a wheelchair. That is when Dr. Wahls started to research food as medicine and created a list of nutrients that were important in healing her body. By using food as medicine, she continued to redesign her diet so that it was giving her brain and body the nutrients it needed to disease and since helped thousands of people today. Thousands of people today to beat chronic disease, just like she did by creating the Wahls Protocol. For her, in 1 year, she went from a wheelchair to completing an 8-mile bicycle tour. 18-mile bicycle tour, and now pedals her bike to work every day.
That is amazing. Such an inspiration to the world.
She is the author of the Wahls Protocol, a radical new way to treat all chronic autoimmune conditions using paleo principles, and the Wahls Protocol cookbook. She has also created the Wahls Protocol cookbook, and her daughter wrote this amazing children's book called Growing Strong, Healthy Eating for the Whole Family. We love this book.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
So she hosts a Wahls Protocol seminar every year where anyone can learn how to implement the protocol with ease and success.
My mom spoke at the event last year, and she can't stop talking about it. She also has a certification program and starts her Autoimmune Mastery program tomorrow.
Thank you, Dr. Wahls, for joining us today. Such a huge honor.
Thank you very much, Abdullah and Zane. And I should tell you, Zane, that Z names are very big in our house. I have a son, Zachariah, and a daughter, Zebediah. And our first dog, we also gave him a Z name as well. So I'm very pleased to meet you, Mr. Zane, and also Abdullah.
Kids are getting sicker and sicker, and a lot more kids are dealing with their body attacking itself or autoimmune diseases.
Yes, that is absolutely true. There are more children having multiple sclerosis at younger and younger ages, and there are more kids having other things like inflammatory bowel disease, skin problems like psoriasis and severe eczema, and other forms of arthritis as well.
That's horrible.
Dr. Wahls, we know regular doctors aren't taught nutrition. What made you think to go to nutrition to help you with your symptoms? We would love to hear your story.
So, I was diagnosed with MS in 2000. Before that, I had 20 years of intermittent face pain that was very unpleasant. And I knew that MS was a progressive disease, so I wanted to take the newest drugs, see the best people in the country, and I did that. And I went steadily downhill anyway. Within 3 years, I'm in the tilt recline wheelchair. I take even more aggressive drugs, now taking IV infusions, including Tysabri, this very new, very potent, very, very expensive drug. Continued to go downhill, and it was clear I was headed towards becoming bedridden or demented. My face pains were more and more severe. And that's when I decided, because I had young children, your ages literally. At that point, it was 11 and 8, and that it was up to me. And so I started reading the basic science, and I started experimenting based at first on supplements. And then I discovered the ancestral health movement, and I adopted the paleo diet. I was still going downhill. Then I discovered the Institute for Functional Medicine. I took their course on neuroprotection, things to protect my brain. I had a deeper understanding. I added a few more supplements. And then I had this really big aha moment, like, what if I redesigned my paleo diet based on what I was reading from basic science and functional medicine? And that's what I did in the summer of 2008. And when I did that, Abdullah and Zain, I was so weak I could not sit up in a regular chair. I was beginning to have problems with my memory, and my face pain was particularly unpleasant and very, very difficult. But my pain melted away. My fatigue went away. I had plenty of energy, and I was able to get on my bike for the first time in 6 years, and I biked around the block. My son was he's grown quite a bit. He's quite a bit older. So by this time he's 15. My daughter is 12. So he's jogging on one side. My daughter's jogging on the other side. And my wife is biking up behind me. So I bike around the block. My son is crying. My daughter's crying. My wife is crying. And I'm crying because we never thought I'd be able to bike again. And in 6 more months, I'm able to do that 18.5-mile bike ride.
So when kids eat food, it goes to our stomachs and from our intestines, influences our gut microbiome or the bugs in our belly, but can also influence every cell of the body, even
Absolutely.
influencing our genes. Every person is unique. The way we look, if we have blue eyes or brown, and even traits or features that are passed on to you by your parents through information that is located in your genes. Humans have 25,000 genes that control the production of proteins in the body.
Dr. Wahls, is it true that food can charge our genes?
Absolutely. The food we eat changes the genes that are turned on and turned off. And so the food I was eating was probably changing microbes, that is the bugs in my gut, and it was turning off disease-promoting genes and turning on health-promoting genes. So absolutely, it was changing how my cells could do the chemistry of life, including the cells in my brain.
Wow, so genes can be turned on and off with your lifestyle choices called epigenetics. How we choose to live our lives can not only affect our genes, but also our immune system.
Now, hang on. Did you guys know that goes 4 generations forward? So the choices you guys are making now, because you're growing up in such a healthy environment, will affect your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren.
That's amazing. Right, Zen?
Yeah.
So food can affect our immune system. We know the immune system helps to keep the bad bugs out of our body and heal us from injuries. And specifically, there are signaling pathways that are activated and mediated by proteins like NF-kappa B that helps our body heal and fix any type of damages that occur in the cell. These proteins regulate more than 400 genes involved in inflammation and cell functions. So foods can actually turn on or off these processes and pathways.
Absolutely. The food we eat, and I talk a lot about greens and cabbage and onion and mushroom family vegetables, will turn on those NF-kappa B pathways to a more healing process. So the food you eat, so very, very important.
We know our body is made up of cells, and in each cell there's a lot of mitochondria. We know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. But how does food affect the cell and the mitochondria?
So, our mitochondria are ancient bacteria, and the mitochondria need, key elements, key building blocks to run the chemistry in their little organelle, little component. And so they need a lot of healthy fats, as in nuts or as in fish oil, grass-fed meat, wild fish. They also need a lot of B vitamins, as in greens, as in liver. That would be very good. And they need a lot of minerals. And so sea salt can be really good. Seaweed can be good for that. Nutritional yeast can be good for that. Bone broth can be really good for that. If we have those building blocks, the mitochondria can make enough energy, and the energy is what lets the cell do the work assigned to it. If the mitochondria can't make enough energy, your brain is strained and you'll have more fatigue, more pain. And if you have MS, your disease will progress much more rapidly.
Food can affect many pathways and processes in the body, good or bad. Inflammation is the fire in our body created by our immune system as it tries to get rid of infections or heal us from trauma. There are two types of inflammation. Good inflammation, acute inflammation, that is a quick response to injury, and bad bacteria to fix what is wrong.
And the chronic inflammation is the bad inflammation. It's when your body has constant fire because of the constant stimulus that don't stop.
So we want to put our food in our body that will help heal our gut, balance our insulin levels, optimize our mitochondria functions, and the most nutrient dense for our bodies. We love the Wahls Protocol because it focuses on real food, real whole food to help the body heal, all using science. Let's dive into the Wahls Protocol. What foods are important and included in the Wahls Protocol to help patients heal? And can this same approach work for kids?
Absolutely. So the first thing that we do is I talk to kids and their parents about taking away the really harmful foods. So sugar feeds the wrong bacteria, is very inflammatory. And we also ask them to remove gluten-containing grain, particularly if you have an autoimmune problem. So that's things like wheat, rye, barley. And we remove dairy because dairy proteins and gluten proteins can, in the autoimmune patient, really rev up that inflammation. Then we have them ramp up their vegetables. So I talk about green leafy vegetables, salads, cooked greens like kale, parsley, cilantro, chard. You can have them cooked or raw. Then we talk about sulfur-containing vegetables, cabbage family, onion family, mushroom family vegetables. Again, because those pump up the NF-kappa B and help the body remove toxins. It also helps the brain make some very important neurotransmitters. Those are key molecules in the brain. And then the third group of vegetables are things that are deeply, deeply colored, like beets, carrots, berries, because we know that these colors have a lot of antioxidants in them. They are very protective at lowering the rate of obesity, lowering the rate of insulin resistance, and lowering the rate of cancer. We also know in many, many studies that the more color you eat, the more greens you eat, the lower the rate of memory loss, anxiety, and depression.
Amazing.
We love eating the rainbow as vegetables and fruits have so many colors. Each color has a specific nutritional benefit. They are a rich source of minerals, vitamins, and decreased phytonutrients. Phyto means plants. A group of chemicals essential to vibrant health that protect us from inflammation and chronic disease.
We know colorful foods are filled with healing powers, as they contain phytophenols that heal our body. We love pomegranates, and try to eat some weekly to add beneficial bacteria like Akkermansia into our gut. What colorful foods should kids include in their diet?
Well, berries are really an easy way of doing this. And a lot of kids will love blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. So berries are good. Pomegranates are great. Beets are really good. Carrots are good. Peppers are good. Tomatoes can be really very good. Cabbage, we love to make sauerkraut. And so we make sauerkraut with red cabbage and red beets. And so that's become a huge, huge hit. When I talk to my children and patients about how to figure out if something colored, I have them take a knife and cut it through the food item and then open it up into half. If there's color all the way through, then that counts as the colored category. So carrots and beets would be colored all the way through. Peaches and oranges would be colored all the way through. An apple, pear, or banana is white on the inside, and so that has a lot of sugar or starch in it, but not as many antioxidants, not as many of those polyphenols. So I'd rather people have berries or peppers or pomegranates or oranges or peaches, things that are colored all the way through.
Yeah, I love peaches, right?
Yeah, you love peaches a lot.
They are yummy.
Yeah,
they are very yummy.
Yeah, I like apples.
We love to add foods that will keep our bodies alkaline, eat lots of fiber foods, and foods that will help our body make glutathione. Glutathione is a super cleaner of the body and the liver, where all the toxins get stored when the liver can't get rid of it. So what foods can we eat to boost our glutathione?
So that is perfect. I talk a lot about the sulfur-containing vegetables. So here we're talking about the cabbage family. So it'd be cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, radishes. Then we also talk about the onion family. So that's onion, garlic, shallots, chives. Those all have lots of sulfur in them. They're really very good. In addition, mushrooms have a lot of sulfur in them. And particularly the culinary mushrooms, things like the white button mushroom, crimini mushrooms, portobellas, shiitake, oyster mushrooms. Literally, there are hundreds of different kinds of mushrooms. And these also have a lot of sulfur in them. They will boost glutathione. And they also happen to boost your ability to make an important compound called nerve growth factors that tell your brain cells to repair them, to get repaired, to build more connections, and to repair the myelin.
My mom adds tons of garlic, onions, cilantro, and cruciferous veggies like broccoli, kale, cauliflower, cabbage, and sulfur foods daily, so our bodies increase the production of glutathione and nerve growth factors. Grass-fed wild-caught protein is also part of the protocol. How will that help a child's body heal?
So our children in particular need protein in order to grow strong bodies, strong muscles, strong brains. And unfortunately, there are a lot of children who have a lot of sugar, a lot of processed food, and not enough protein, which slows down the growth and may lead to stunting of the growth. Therefore, having good, clean meats, ideally grass-fed meats, so you get the healthy fats. You can do legumes and a gluten-free grain. So you could do black-eyed peas and brown rice. That could make a complete protein as well. But I'd like to see kids also have a little liver or heart once a week, because that is such potent nutrition as well.
Yeah, a lot of kids don't eat organ meat. How can parents incorporate organ meat into their kids' diet? My mom hides it in the ground beef.
Well, we used to hide it in our ground beef as well. I think that's a mom trick. You can also take organ meat capsules. We have some of those available. And I think the key thing is to learn that organ meat actually can be quite delicious. The key is to not overcook it. If you overcook it so it's too done, then it becomes tough, like cardboard, and not very tasty. But we cook liver and onions, and it turns out to be one of my children's favorite meals, including their young teenage friends. So yes, it can be quite delicious.
Now, my favorite food ever. We eat seaweed. How is seaweed healing?
Well, iodine is a very important nutrient for thyroid health. It's also an important nutrient that your immune cells use when they are killing cancer cells. They use iodine when they're killing bacteria and viruses. If you're low on that iodine, we can't kill the intruders nearly as well. So I think there are a variety of ways to get seaweed. You can get some seaweed snacks that can be fun. We also get powdered seaweed and seaweed flakes, and I use it as a spice in our cooking. And when we first started using the seaweed, my family would say, like, "Oh my gosh, Mom, this is the best soup ever. This is the best stew ever. This is the best casserole ever." And I think it was because we were probably relatively iodine insufficient or iodine deficient.
We talk a lot about food. Now, time to talk about exercise. How does exercise help your brain?
So exercise sends some really important signals to your brain to make, again, those very important hormones called nerve growth factor that are necessary for your brain cells to get the message to repair and to repair the myelin, that's the insulation on the wiring between brain cells, and to repair the connections, that's called the synapses. If we are sitting around and we're not active enough, we don't have enough of these growth hormones, and our brain tends to shrink, and it shrinks quite rapidly.
That's amazing and kind of scary. Let's move to how a child can detoxify. We know food and sweating can help, but what else can we incorporate in our day to help us detoxify?
Well, I'll tell you, there are several things for us to think about. One is the relationships that you have. If you have friends who are really very negative and harmful to you, sometimes you have to put more distance between yourself and the harmful people in your life. You want to be sure that you're surrounding yourself with supportive individuals. You want to be sure that you are peeing a lot. If you don't have enough water and you get dehydrated, your kidneys can't get rid of the toxins as well. If you are plugged up and so you're pooping bricks instead of soft, easily passed poops, then you can't get rid of the toxins very well. Because it turns out, again, Abdullah and Zane, it turns out that the bacteria living in your gut, the bugs in your bowels, are responsible for removing 25% of your toxins. So you want to be sure that you're pooping, you're sweating, and you're surrounding yourself with people who will support you in your attempt to have a healing lifestyle.
Absolutely. We try to drink a lot of water also. We talk about poop all the time, right, Zen?
Yeah.
So important for detoxifying.
Yes.
Most kids are eating the kids menu, filled with artificial foods, processed carbs, and sugars, also known as the standard American diet. Why is that a problem, and can nutrition really save our future?
Well, when we replace the food we eat with food that have empty calories, so a lot of calories but no fiber to feed our gut bacteria, no vitamins and minerals to feed our cells, we are starving ourselves. And it's hard for our cells to run the chemistry of life. And so that markedly increases the probability that you as a person or your children will have a higher rate of anxiety, of depression, of problems learning, of problems with obesity, diabetes, heart disease. And they'll be struggle to be successful in their lives as children, then as young adults. So this is a huge problem. And the food companies are rewarded by creating products that create addiction and craving. So our children want to have more and more and more of these sugary, empty calorie foods. So what can we do? We want to teach our children that the food determines the quality of their body and the quality of their brain, and that we want our children to eat high quality food, and that we want to reduce or eliminate these empty calories, the sugar processed foods. And that, of course, can be a challenge because for many families, members of the family have gotten addicted to these terrible foods for us. And we have a lot of craving, we get cranky, we get headaches, and we snap at other members of the family if we don't get the processed foods with lots of sugar in front of us.
Yeah, parents are really overwhelmed today. What is one thing parents and kids can do today to help their bodies heal?
Cook together. I think it's a wonderful family activity to shop together, cook together, and begin preparing our meals together. Swap out the sugar and the processed foods and replace in its place these radical things known as vegetables, the greens, the sulfur, the color, and then devising the menu together. Kids are much more willing to eat food that they've helped to prepare. And there are plenty of kid-friendly, fun recipes to make it easier to get kids to have more fruit, to have more vegetables. Greens, cooked greens with a lot of saturated fat in them, very tasty. Greens with some green grapes make a wonderful, tasty smoothie. So there are ways to make this lots and lots of fun.
That was so empowering. Where can we learn more about you and your amazing work?
Okay. So if you go to terrywahls.com, that's where my website is at. You can pick up a one-page handout of my diet at terrywahls.com/diet. You can attend our Autoimmune Intervention Mastery course, where this is online, and we are teaching people how to implement these concepts. In fact, I start the 7 weeks of group calls to walk people through this starting tomorrow morning. We have a seminar which we've converted to virtual, where we are teaching people these concepts. And your mom was a huge hit when she spoke at our seminar. And we have practitioners all over the globe who are getting trained in how to use this in their practice. Physicians, chiropractors, physical therapists, occupational therapists, nutrition professionals, mental health professionals, health coaches. And that you can learn about that at terrywahls.com/certification. You can follow me on Facebook at terrywahls.com. You can follow me on Instagram and see what I'm eating at Dr. Terry Wahls. Very typically we will put up photos of our meals and little video inspirational messages and short tutorials on how to incorporate these very concepts in your life.
Make sure to follow Dr. Wahls on social media. You have a lot of things going on. How can practitioners and patients learn from you?
So by all means, go to our website, terrywahls.com. Practitioners at terrywahls.com/certification, and you can learn and get trained. The public learn and get trained by using the Autoimmune Intervention Mastery course. That's an online program that is just fabulous. And again, that is starting tomorrow morning. And then we have a virtual seminar that will go on over the next several months. You can learn about that at terrywahls.com/seminar. And if you just want the one-page handout, the summary of my diet, that's at terrywahls.com/diet.
To recap Dr. Wahls' key points. 1. Make sure your plate is 2/3 plants, like greens, colored foods, and those with sulfur in it, as it can help to heal our body from the inside out. 2. Incorporate fermented foods, good sources of grass-fed and pastured organic or wild-caught protein and organ meats into your daily diet. Into your daily diet or into your family's diet. 3. Exercise regularly, as exercise is good for your muscles and your brain. Make sure you incorporate a stress management technique into your daily routine, like meditation or sauna. Plant a garden and play outdoors to help you heal and relax. 6. Find a way to detoxify your body. Sauna, sweating daily, and Epsom salt baths are important. Kids are getting sicker and sicker. The food you put in your child's body and your body can make you sick or healthy. So that choice is up to you, because nutrition can save our future.
Thank you again, Dr. Wahls. That was so amazing.
Zain and Abdullah, you guys are amazing. I am so, so proud of you. It is such an honor to be on this interview with you. Thank you so very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Zain Ansari.
And I'm Abdullah.
Follow my family and I on social media, Holistic Mom and D. And look out for my mom's book, The Holistic RX, Your Guide to Healing the Chronic Inflammation and Disease. And the amazing children's book today we wrote together. It's out today.
Now get Holistic RX now in paperback.
Adam's Healing Adventure. This is Adam's Healing Adventure. So check it out on Amazon. Yay! Join us next week for another episode of the Holistic Kids Show. Where kids are empowering kids. We know, especially with school, it's overwhelming. But if we can do it, you can too. The children's book will help you. So check out Adam's Healing Adventures on Amazon today. And make sure leave a review. Check out Dr. Wahls' programs. It will change your life. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.